The wealth of the rich is its fortified city, but poverty is the ruin of the poor. Good day, friends. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Fortify the City, y'all. This is Sade Graham, the cultural activist, here with another episode like clockwork. Let's talk about it. Something ran across my Facebook page the other day, a meme where the image had two fishes, one in a bowl and one in the open water swimming free. And the profile of which it came from was basically exclaiming how being religious is like being the fish stuck in the bowl, while being spiritual is the fish swimming free in the open water. There is this movement that more and more people have been adapting, the I'm spiritual, not religious movement. Religion has too many rules, they say. Religion doesn't have a space for self-expression. But the more I read and learn about who exactly Jesus was or is, the more I kind of get this campaign and the need to be the desperado. So this might sound like a continuation of an episode I released like 2 weeks ago, but you must forgive me. Although I try, you can't sum up the history of Jesus in like 10 minutes. That's why Fortify the City is an episodic. And I don't want to call this week's take as part 2 of a thing, because it definitely wasn't meant to be. However, if you feel the need to refer back to episode 4, Jesus is not a third party, feel free. I welcome it wholeheartedly. I was reading about the character of Jesus in the book of Luke, and I came to some understanding about the man that he was back in the day and who the authority figures before him found him to be, finding reason and motive to pin him to the cross. Let the Pharisees tell it, Jesus was an outlaw, and this I might have to agree with them, because he was the original outlaw, vilified then crucified for being a true leader, for exposing the truth. I wouldn't necessarily refer to Jesus as the fish swimming in open water, but he certainly wasn't the one who allowed for certain man-made traditions to put him in a box or a fishbowl. He was very much the man who created the new wave of worshipers and followers of God. Jesus did his own thing. Don't get it twisted. The real reason why religious leaders of Jesus' day found reason to hang him on the cross was that he didn't follow the law in a diplomatic way. Not that he broke the law, because he did not. He never broke God's law. He just didn't move in the way that was expected of him by the hierarchy of men who were appointed by each other to oversee the law. He did his own thing within the confines of that law. Jesus was a real G. Like, he straight told it like it was, and he didn't care what the courts thought about it. He spoke in a way that was very authoritative and real, yet poetic and moving. He didn't abide to any curfews. He sat and ate and interacted with those who were considered the scum of the land, the cheaters, the prostitutes. He had all kinds of friends and people who loved him and respected him because he continued to show love to all. He healed the sick whenever he wanted. He didn't follow a particular custom. To him, the customs were bogus. Jesus shared similar sentiments that many of us today say about religious folk. How religious folk are hypocrites, always having something to say about the next person. Jesus was the first one to remind a religious folk to remove the speck out of his own eye before speaking of someone else and the speck in their eye. He wasn't uppity. He didn't look down on anyone. He was and is the coolest there is. So I get the notion behind breaking free from the rules and wanting to create your own path, which folks link with spirituality. I get that. I get it. I mean, I too am absolutely into the idea of being the standout and doing things my own way. I don't see anything wrong with that, except for when it excludes Jesus. Be careful when breaking away from religion, you guys. All you OD free thinkers. Because while Jesus was a free thinker, he still maintained the foundations of the law, and he did it to the utmost. Just like you, he wasn't a fan of the customs that people thought were necessary in order to uphold the law. Because real talk, it doesn't take a custom to uphold the law. It just takes following the law. That's it. Do not kill. Do not steal. Do not commit adultery. Do not neglect the assembly of the brethren. Do not lie. Do not fornicate. Be kind and giving, show love, have compassion, etc., etc. And to tie last week's episode into this, if you do end up breaking one of these, receive your conviction, admit to your wrongs, and do better the next time. That's all Jesus requires. The difference between Jesus and these other open water fishes today, Jesus wasn't reckless. He didn't entertain the gluttony of the flesh. He wasn't hurting people, nor was he encouraging people to hurt people. In fact, we know Jesus as the one to encourage love and forgiveness. kindness, respect. The real brother's keeper, you heard? Jesus doesn't want you to not have fun. He wants you to be responsible. Jesus came to set things straight. Yes, there were leaders giving religion a bad name, abusing their power and authority. And I mean, as we see, not much has changed. But that doesn't mean that we refute religion because of some bad seeds. Leave the bad seeds to their fate. But make sure you continue to hold on and grow. Like, don't fall because of somebody's mistakes. Don't fall because of somebody's mishaps or somebody's defiance. That's silly. Jesus gave us Christianity, the new form of religion, so that we could stay linked. Because contrary to what spirituality conveys, we can't do this life on our own. No matter what you think, no matter how strong or intelligent you may be, we need each other. And together we need God. You can read and know all the principles of life, the Bible stories, the insights that you want, and still not really know anything. Trust me. If you're one to blame people for why you don't go to church or why you have had it with religion, let me tell you this. You don't go to church for the pastor. You don't go to church for the people. You go to receive the word. And it's the same way when you turn it around. You can't stop going to church for the people. You can't stop going to church for the pastor. Because at the end of the day, religion is not about the people. It's about us reaching God. And that's what those religious leaders did. They made it about something other than. They made it about their customs, their ceremonies, etc., etc. And Jesus came to break all that up. The real outlaw. The same way you won't allow for anyone to stop your bag, how do you allow for someone to stop you from receiving God? Listen, Galatians 5:1 says, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery." So here it is, the freedom that so many keep referring to that they don't have in religion. This is it right here, the freedom that Jesus made way for us through Christianity. But while being set free from the yoke of slavery, that box, Jesus reintroduced the true way of having religion. He wasn't expecting us not to make mistakes. He was expecting us to do better and to be there for one another. That bowl, Jesus actually freed us from all that. So let's be clear, you are set free. Yep, that's all for this week's episode, you guys. Come back next week to Fortify the City with Sade, the cultural activist. I welcome you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys will share and, tell your friends about it. Share the love, share the wealth. Let's do what God wants us to do and be there for each other in this instance. But yeah, I hope to have you guys back next week. Thank you for all your support. Until next time, have a good day, y'all.